Okay, hey guys, I just want to do this little video for this week, and I'm gonna talk about like video games. You like the kind we play today. Like those video games. Video games you play. I'm talking about the old time ones, like back in the NES days, when they had controllers like that. Let me draw you one. Okay, so here's the controller. Like back in the day when you played stuff like on the NES and such, NES, or like go even older, all the way back to, I don't know if you guys know about this, but it's a pretty old thing. Okay, so if you traveled back like 42 years ago, you would find this thing called the Magnavox Odyssey. Sorry, it takes me a long time to spell it. So if you went back 42 years ago, you would find this one little machine. And just to tell you, that was when, so it was around the time when my dad was born. You know, he just came in while the Odyssey was like doing its thing, hold on. Doing its thing, getting its stuff, getting sales, all that back in the day. But what he really grew up with was this other thing that might be more memorable. So what my dad would have played when he was younger is actually this thing called the a.k.a. 2600. I'm talking about this because I actually asked my dad about these games that, he played on that console. He played games like Pitfall. Sorry, that's a bad barrel in there. So yeah, he played games like Pitfall or something. I don't know. Yeah, those games. They're pretty old by now. They're still pretty fun to play back in the day. The thing is, if you were born like 1980 and you got that a.k.a. 2600 on like 1984, then that would be amazing, because that's the year that the second generation of video games had ended, and that's the generation that the a.k.a. 2600 existed in. He's also told me stuff that indicates that he's pretty old, Like, back in the day, I'm pretty sure he and his friends he told me that him and, like, his friends had no freaking idea of what an analog stick was. Like, legit, if you go back to the Nintendo 64, back in the day, like, my dad even told me, they were like, wait, what is this? What is this? What do we do with it? Like, what, why is this? Like, what? So they were just like, what? So, he had absolutely no freaking idea what this thing is at all. Yeah, this little analog stick. The one that we have, the one that we have two of on our controllers today. Yeah, that one. I loved to play the games that my dad grew up with. Normally it's the NES, or the Game Boy. That big fat brick or something. That big fat brick with Super Mario Land. That one. I loved playing games from those consoles back in the day. And when the Super NES came out, my dad was practically already an adult, not an NES. But yeah. Once all that came, my dad was fully grown up, and he hasn't played that many games from that time anymore. But the one game he has been playing for ages, like every time he did, it'd be FIFA. And I can't really blame him. He grew up in Mexico. But that's practically the only game he would play anymore. That's the only game he would play. Look at that little smiley face. Yeah, after growing up with the Atari 2600 and its limitations that didn't allow it to like do certain stuff that games can, like it's pretty fun for my dad to be able to play these games. Oh yeah, by the way, my mom was too poor to afford games. Yeah. So anyway, that's the end of this video. I just wanted to make the very first animation or something, I don't know. Look at my guy, he looks so derpy. Okay, see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.